Okay, so you want to go to your Art 209 folder, Photoshop, and you can download this whole Fun Effects folder, and then you'll have lots of stuff to choose from. So that's probably the easiest way to go. So let me go to Photoshop, and I'm going to say File, Open, and I will go to the desktop, which my desktop's getting messy. I'd cleaned it up, now it's messy. There's my Fun Effects folder, and double click it. And the first thing we want to do is go to Women in Paint. And if we go in here, we can see there's different things that are paint and different things that are women. You are going to want one of each. So I'll grab this and I'll hit open. And there we go. And then I'll go back, file, open. And I think I'll grab this image here. Okay, so we want to combine them. So first off, when we look at both of them, one is horizontal, one is vertical. So first thing is you don't want to change the orientation of the picture of the human because we know exactly what direction this picture is supposed to be. This one is abstract, so we don't. So you want to go image in your menu, image rotation. You can say 90 degrees clockwise or counterclockwise, it's up to you. So there we go. Now it is the same orientation. You always want to know what size image you're working with, so I'm going to go image size. Okay, so right now it's only 72, and we know for print we need 300. Make sure, by the way, that this is on inches. However, it's 42 inches by 64, it's really big, so all you have to do is make sure resample is unchecked. Interpolate the pixel information. Yeah, we don't want to do that. We want the program Photoshop to use the information that's in there. We don't want it to create new information. That's how you get a blurry image. So we are going to type in 300 for the resolution, and you will see the image size go down because we've taken the info that's in there and we've made it more compressed so that it'll print okay. If you kept resample on and typed in 300, it would have made up information and you would have had a giant blurry picture. And you never want to tell resample to make information. You can, however, make things smaller. So if you had needed the image smaller, that would have been okay. So this is 10 by 15. I'm going to hit OK. Let me go to my picture of my woman. Image size. And the same thing. Make sure resample's unchecked. I'm going to type in 300. And this one is, let's see, it's a little wider and it's a little taller. It's a little bit bigger overall. And I'm going to hit OK. And I am going to paste her onto the other document. So I'm going to hit Command or Control A, Command or Control C. Let me go to my background, Command or Control V, and let me zoom out. If you hit Command T, you'll see the borders, Command or Control T, of your image, and you can resize it if you want. You can make it smaller. Don't make it bigger, only make it smaller. I'm going to hit Command Z because I don't really feel like I need to resize it, but I am going to move it. There we go, and hit return. Alright, so I have the image of the woman pasted on the image of the background. I want it the opposite. I want the background on top of her. So backgrounds always are locked by default. You just have to click them to unlock them. So now I can just grab this layer and drag it below. So I want to try and blend them together, and I want to use the blend mode, linear light, and it's right here. And by the way, all these divided lines these are different groups of effects that have similar properties. So we're going to go down to the 1, 2, 3, 4th group to linear light. Oops, I'm on the woman. I don't want her linear light. I want the top layer linear light. Okay, so there we go. Let's see. I want to see more of the woman, so let me pull down the opacity. Not terrible, but what I want to show you is sometimes the fill is better. Let's pull down the fill. And that's making a more interesting composite of the two images combined. It's giving you this kind of, weathered look, and the paint is showing through. So maybe you don't want to do that. You're like, well, I don't really want a woman covered in paint, but there's some very useful things you can do here. So let's go File, Open. And we don't want the woman paint folder anymore. We want to grab woman gradients. So there's a whole bunch in here. You can grab whatever one you like. I'm going to open this one. Okay, so again, you always want to know what your image size is when you're working with an image. And all these images are print resolution, meaning you can print them out in a nice printer, high resolution, they'll look great. So image size. Again, uncheck resample, make sure resample is not checked, and type in 300. So we're not creating information, we're just rearranging it. Then hit OK. So make sure your layers are up, and we're going to go right here to this circle. It's half black, half white. Click on it and go to the word gradient. All right, so I know some people for some reason didn't have gradients loaded. Lots of times if you click on this little down arrow you can find some, or if you go through here, if you scroll down through all these, there's different ones. We want this one, and I can just click on it and click back here. Now suppose you didn't like that, you could actually click right on the gradient, click right here, you'll get this box up. And then I can click on, say, this stop here, and you see it says color here. If I click on the word color, I can change it. I can also click below and add more little points and change the colors there as well. So you can totally edit or create a gradient if you'd like. And you do that again by clicking just on the actual line of the gradient right here. And then just click each of these stops and you can change the color. Now if you have an extra stop and you don't want it, just pull it down like you slap it off. Alright, so we're going to change our gradient. Let me hit OK in that window. To the style is going to be radial. It means it's a circle. Now I don't want the blue in the middle, I want the orange in the middle, so I can go here and say reverse and hit OK. Oops, ignore that. Alright, so I have a nice gradient, and now we're going to change the color mode of this gradient from normal to color burn. And it's, it's super dramatic. Let's say we wanted less of that. Again, let me move this over the image so you can see it while I do it. Let me pull the opacity down, and it's alright, it's not great. Let me put it back to 100, the opacity. Now, with the gradient fill layer selected, let's pull down the fill to almost the same, that's 29. And I'll turn the layer on and off so you can see the difference. Like, that really made this image have a lot of punch that it didn't have before. And again, I'll put the fill back to 100, and I'll pull the opacity down to 29, and you can see it's, in fact, you know what, let me just copy this gradient, and I'll do one of each, so you can see them in real time. So let me type in 29, and then for this one, for the fill, I'll type in 29. Alright, so let's zoom back in. There it is. with opacity 29, and I'll turn that one off. And here it is with fill 29. So that has a very different effect. So the opacity has a kind of weird lightening quality that takes down some of the contrast of your image. So with just when you pull down the fill, it doesn't do that. So I think this looks much better. All right. And now we're going to go File, Open. And the last one is the landscape folder. And again, there's a whole bunch in here. You can pick whatever one you like. Again, let's go image, image size, check that image size, make sure resample's unchecked, type in 300. Again, you see the file, the width and height in inches go down because there's more pixels now being put into an inch. It's just redistributing information, not creating any. All right, so we're going to go in our layers, down here to the little circle. It's half black and half white, and we're going to grab solid color. And I'm going to pick an orangish color and hit OK. Now I'm going to click on normal, and I'm going to put it to hard mix. And that's pretty crazy looking. That doesn't look realistic at all. And if you don't want it to look realistic, fine, but let's say for this we do. So again, I'll pull down opacity, and it's got these weird, let's zoom in again. Let me get off that. No, I don't want to rasterize. It's doing this weird stuff right here. You can see where it's all pixely. So I'm going to put that back to 100. And let me pull this down. And boom, you don't have any of that weird pixeliness. No, I don't want to rasterize you. Okay. And there you go. That really gave it a lot of warmth. Probably too much. I can probably pull it down more. So if you notice, every time we put on, the gradient had one, and this solid color has one, and it has a mask. So all you do, if you want to mask out some of the color, is you can click this layer mask, grab your brush, and make sure your foreground color is black. And I'm going to make sure always you have one of these nice, soft brushes that look fuzzy, because a photographic edge is a soft edge. And I'm going to make this bigger. And I could say pull it out, the color out. I could block it out of some areas. So I'm just taking it out of that puddle there, and maybe I'll take some of it out of the sky in this building, maybe that building. Let me make my brush smaller as I'm going. And then you're going to see that where it's black, it's blocked the action of this color. Now, the nice thing about these as well is you can edit them at any time. So if I wanted to change the color that I blended in here, I could just double click and, maybe move it to something like green, which looks not so hot. But, you never know. There might be something. The blue looks okay. It makes it look very cold, but that's all right. I'm going to hit cancel. And by the way, I can do the same thing with the gradient. I could click the gradient, and I could try a different gradient. Oh, that was not nice. Let me go back to my nice one. So yeah, you can edit those, and you can also use these layer masks to block out areas you don't want them to affect. So that's it for this. You can say file export to upload them to Flickr, but always save your layers in Photoshop. So you would just say file, save as, and you would want it to be Photoshop file, and then you can save your image with all the layers. JPEGs you upload to the internet you should view as kind of throwaway files. You always want your original files. So save all your layers. Ooh, okay.